felt that the gym was very repetitive and boring because I felt like I was doing the same thing. There's going to be a slight rise in body temperature, so don't work out. Men are a little bit more calmer. I was in the 7th grade when I learned how to perform CPR. I was studying in the American International School of Dhaka, Bangladesh. The reason why I mention the name is because I wanted to know that it was an American curriculum and a South Asian country. And CPR, by the way, is the medical procedure that is performed in case somebody stops breathing or their heart stops pumping. So you've probably seen it on television or you've witnessed it firsthand, which is why when they try to give like more than 100 pumps per minute. So normally you practice CPR on dummies, and of course my school also had arranged some dummies for us and we were practicing CPR on them, but none of these dummies had breasts, which at that time 13 or 12-year-old me didn't seem like an important thing to question. जबकि उसके 3rd step में it was clearly written and taught that the 3rd step was remove all clothes inside and expose the chest. And still I didn't question this. I didn't raise my hand. I didn't say anything because I thought that if this were to happen in real life, then of course I would do the needful and remove all clothing inside, which it could be a hindrance in me giving CPR regardless of the gender, because jaan se zyada kya important ho sakta hai, right? Doesn't matter if you're like exposed in front of people, like your life just got saved. But of course as I got older I realized that no, that's actually really weird, because in the country that I live and in the country that I plan on living for so many years, I don't think it's culturally appropriate to remove someone's clothes, even if it's to save their lives, because over here लोग इज्जत के नाम पे अपनी जान दे सकते हैं. And time in and out, news headlines of honor killing and religion-based violence is proof of this, right? And by the way, when you perform CPR, there's actually no guarantee that you'll actually bring that person to life. The thing is, I'm 24 now, was 13 then, and I still don't know what to do if a woman stops breathing. I guess 13-year-old me didn't have breasts then, so she couldn't figure out that most women wear this annoying thing called a bra, and some of them even have these metal wires attached to their bra. So I very well might be trying to just save your life and accidentally stab you to death. So straight off the bat, women live in a disadvantageous world जहाँ पे even if they were to be saved by somebody who's practicing CPR, because most of them didn't practice, because these dummies are still not made, I don't think they are, because that person didn't practice on a dummy with breasts, there's probably not that good of a chance that they'll be good at what they're doing. So just like this incident I shared with you, there have been many such more instances where I've realized that I'm living in a man's world. And the reason why I'm making this video is not because I hate men. It's because I don't want women to compare themselves to an unattainable standard, which is men. You'll understand what I'm trying to say. But yes, when we come to comparing ourselves, let's start with the gym. When it comes to the gym and taking care of our biological body, you would think that the school system would educate us enough regarding our hormones. But no. I know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and I act as a means of generating power for my trainer.
Do it! Just do it!
And no shade, but वो मुझे push करते रहते हैं to perform the same every single day. And then until I researched about my body, I realized that I only feel like myself for like half a month. I only feel good half a month. And women's bodies are not meant to perform the same every single day as compared to men's body, which can perform the same every single day. So since I also just found out about this, let me educate you. Here is the lesson plan. Take out your notes and I'm gonna help you pass at life. Okay, let's go. So first things first, while a man has a hormone cycle of 24 hours, a woman has a hormone cycle of 28 days. Could also be 30. I think personally mine is 30. So there are 4 stages of a woman's hormone cycle. The first stage is the menstruation phase, like everybody knows, unless you're in 5th grade and mommy hasn't told you about it yet. But this is typically when women bleed around 3 to 7 days.
The Japanese flag is up!
Of course, it's different if you have PCOS or PCOD, but typically 3 से 7 दिन आपको bleeding होती है. This is a time when your estrogen levels are very low.
It's leak week!
जिसके वजह से you have low energy and you have low mood, and this is a time जब आपको exercise थोड़ी सी कम करनी चाहिए.
Code red, Jim! Code red!
Of course, आप कितना exercise करना चाहते हो इन दिनों में is totally up to you. There are women that exercise a lot, but typically as compared to the energy for the rest of the month, these are typically a few days जहाँ पे आपको और भी energy कम लगती है. Then there is, so the second phase in the hormone cycle is the follicular phase, or rather the first actually, because after the menstruation we're preparing for a new egg. So what happens in the follicular phase is that the hormones stimulate your ovaries to produce follicles, and in the follicular phase, the egg which is to be released in ovulation, that egg is kept in your ovaries. So the follicular phase, because of the hormones that are stimulating the ovaries, your energy levels are going to be high, which is why it makes it the perfect time to do high intensity training, जैसे कि HIIT workouts, boxing, running, cardio, anything high intensity. However, there is some research that a woman's body is more prone to muscle injury in the early follicular phase. So don't go too hard on yourself. And the next phase is the ovulation phase. Now the follicular phase actually lasts around 11 to 18 days, and ovulation is only like 16 to 24 hours. So a lot of times we call the late follicular stage as ovulation because it's just easier for doctors and period tracker applications to tell you that this is the perfect time to try for a baby if you are trying. And so 3 to 5 days before the egg is released, which is the actual ovulation, उसमें आप सबसे ज़्यादा fertile होते हो. So of course, all the way from the follicular phase to the late follicular phase and ovulation, eventually your energy levels are high and they're maintained throughout, so you can continue with your high intensity training. Lekin as compared to the early part of the follicular phase, you are less prone to muscle injury in the later part, so you can go even harder if you want during ovulation. So now that the egg has been released, we're done with the ovulation and we've moved on to the luteal phase. So during the luteal phase, which is a period of 2 weeks, one of the longest phases in the entire hormone cycle, इस phase में आपकी जो body है, it's preparing for a child. This is when it's making the lining of your uterus to feed the baby, which is why your body is just pumping a lot more blood and giving it to the baby that it's preparing for, even if it's not going to have one, because let's face it, you're single as fuck, but like it's preparing for it. So इस phase में there's more stress on your body to prepare that uterus lining, which is why your body is going through a lot. You're going to feel tired. There's going to be a slight rise in body temperature, so don't work out in humid or hot conditions during this time. And the luteal phase is usually the one we're talking about when we're talking about PMS symptoms, which is premenstrual symptoms, because your body will start shredding the lining and the bleeding will start in the next phase. So during the luteal phase, usually women go through a range of mood swings, and usually they're on the sadder side. Even when I talk about myself, this is when I feel the saddest, I have no energy, and I'm like extremely negative. And that sucks because it lasts for 2 weeks. And of course everyone's cycle is different, but definitely it lasts a week for me. And that's it. Those were all of the phases of a woman's hormone cycle. But don't put away your notebooks, because abhi I will tell you about the male hormone cycle, which is much less complicated. So there are 3 total phases, and of course this is only 24 hours long, so this is going to be fast. So basically a man's hormone cycle begins in the morning and ends by night. So in the morning, men are typically high on testosterone. They're not like high on testosterone.
Are you ready, stoners? Oh!
Basically they have high levels of testosterone, which makes them quite energetic and lively, and also quick to angry, because a lot of testosterone does make you want to fight someone, I guess. A lot of testosterone makes you very temperamental, so it's easy for men to get into arguments in the beginning of the day. It's just because they're so energetic, although I'm pretty sure this might be a stereotype, but basically they're high on testosterone. And then the second phase is in the afternoon. So by the time it's the afternoon, testosterone levels थोड़े से dip हो चुके हैं. Men are a little bit more calmer, so this is a great time for men to collaborate, socialize, and do team building activities or anything in people, anything that regards people, just because उनके testosterone levels इतने high नहीं हैं that they would overpower someone, but वो इतने low भी नहीं हैं. So basically it's a perfect time in the day to do all of your collaboration kind of work. And even if you don't do collaboration, you're like highly focused during this time. This is like the perfect balance of hormones is in the afternoon. And then when you progress to the evening, the testosterone levels dip, and men are pretty much really tired. They have low sex drive, their emotions are a lot more calmer, and basically they're tired. And yeah, so in terms of exercise, you can see that because testosterone levels are high in the morning, that makes it the perfect time to exercise, because of course you can utilize that extra energy from the high testosterone levels in the gym. So that is it for the male hormone cycle. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the male hormone cycle somehow, just somehow, complements the 9 to 5 corporate world perfectly. The corporate world is literally made for men. And as for exercise, for men it's a matter of when to exercise instead of how to exercise, because evidently they have the same energy levels every single day as long as they exercise at the same time every single day. Of course they should avoid the evenings, because if you take too much stress when you're tired, then of course your cortisol levels will rise, and then that will just like mess up your cycle and stuff. So that's not good. So that's that. But if we come back to the fact that the male hormone cycle aligns perfectly with the schedule of a 9 to 5 job, then we would see that not only are women underpaid for working the same jobs or doing similar roles, not just in India but internationally, but they're also suffering biologically, because as a woman you cannot perform the same every single day, but they're being forced to, because you're constantly in an environment that is working at the standard of a man. If you're a woman in the corporate sector doing a 9 to 5 job, I highly respect you, and I respect you even more if you're married and are planning to have kids or have kids, and massive respect. When I talk about my experience personally when I used to work a corporate job, kudos to past Diksha. But yeah, जब मैं काम करती थी तब afternoon के time पे in the office I would feel really tired and I would almost doze off. I felt like I had limited energy after lunch. I just wanted to work at my own pace and be left alone in isolation कि मैं अकेले बैठ के काम कर लूँ. लेकिन उस time पे इतनी ज़्यादा meetings call होती थी and I'd be really tired, and those meetings would make me even more sleepy. And actually if you look up online, women actually need a lot more sleep than men typically do, क्योंकि women का जो brain है it's wired differently just like our bodies, and we tend to multitask and use our brain a little bit more than men, which is why हमें थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा नींद की भी ज़रूरत होती है. That's why around 2, 3, 4 women are like. And so my precious women, this is your sign to take that plunge, pivot into that freelance career, go do that business, because you'll be able to respect your hormone cycles in all of those careers. And if you do like the stable income that a 9 to 5 job gives you, then definitely look for a company जहाँ पे hours flexible हो and the work culture is also good. And when I talk about exercise, when it comes to my personal experience of exercise, growing up I always had physical education and I was educated outside. So swimming se leke volleyball, and like my schools were very well equipped in keeping their kid active. Basically what I'm trying to say is that the curriculum made sure that they was always switching things up, so I wasn't doing anything for more than 2-3 months. So by the time that I did move back to India and मेरे को अपना health खुद देखना पड़ता था, then I didn't really do much in college, but in school and right now, like after college, मैंने gym attempt करा था जाने का because I felt that it'd be really good for me, it'll keep me fit and everything, but it has been an absolute failure, just for the reason that first of all, I felt that the gym was very repetitive and boring because I felt like I was doing the same thing every day. But I'm okay with doing the same thing every day, but I cannot do it at the same pace with the same strength every single day, which I don't think that people around me sort of understood. Honestly, I didn't even understand because I was seeing all of these people who are super regular at the gym, right? And I wasn't able to do that. So what would happen is that I would push myself one day because my gym trainer was like, oh, you can do it, you have to do it and everything, which I didn't like because I want to set my pace myself. I don't want to be like peer pressured into this, although now I understand that I can draw a boundary there, but I wasn't that great at it. तो मैं ऐसे मतलब अगर वो push करते थे मुझे तो I would exert, and then when I would go home मुझे ऐसे सर दर्द होता था and I would get the worst of cramps. Cramps are fine, but they need to be at a tolerable level that the next day I actually feel like showing up. I definitely feel like now when I do join the gym again, I'm going to respect my moon cycle and I'm going to track my moon cycle. So if you know any apps, let me know in the comments down below. And personally, I also have like low iron levels. So during my luteal phase, sometimes I used to go to an insane amount of depression. But definitely gym जाना मेरे लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता था. अगर मैं वहाँ पे exert कर लेती थी और देर लगती थी मुझे उस phase से recover करने में, if that makes sense. इसलिए I feel like all women have different strengths and every body is unique. But for me, I don't know, I have not had the best experience with gym. The next thing I want to talk about is the sociological factors. Because of the sociological factors, I myself had to adjust so much to the point that I don't even think I am myself anymore. I've made like a 360-degree turn, although I would say there are good and bad parts to this. If you know me, I'm like immensely emotional. I make friends like this. My several counselors in the past and therapists have told me that I make emotional decisions and I just like tend to live my life on the basis of my emotions. So if I like you, if I meet you and I feel like, oh, we're having a good conversation, then I will try and keep in touch with you. You know, basically I'll be really happy to meet you, and then I would of course talk to you a lot, which a lot of times caused a lot of havoc in my life. This has caused a lot of men to think that I'm interested in them romantically, जबकि मैं होती नहीं हूँ, like I'm not interested in them. But I just want to have a conversation. I'm just overly friendly. In my corporate experience, which was very short-lived, लेकिन उसके अंदर भी there were enough women talking about the fact that I talk to guys a lot and I'm extremely flirtatious, when that is not the case at all. And in my corporate job experience, दूसरी जो woman थी, sucks that women do this to women, but they would say that I'm flirting with men because I just happen to talk to everyone in general a lot. But yeah, there were more men in my company, so what can I do about it? I'm not defined by other women's opinions, so no worries there. Another thing, have you noticed that women are not allowed to be clumsy? Like, has it ever happened to you that you wore an outfit and you like that outfit and you were in a hurry and you like dashed out the door, and when you arrived to the place that you wanted to be at, you realize that जो भी आपने पहना हुआ है वो शायद थोड़ा सा appropriate ना हो, but it's too late because आप पहुंच चुके हो, and like maybe that dress you're wearing is a little too tight fitting या फिर वो बहुत ज़्यादा low cut blouse है or something like that. That happens to me a lot because my wardrobe is basically a casual wardrobe. इतना कुछ formal है नहीं उसमें, so I've ended up in situations where I thought that maybe what I'm wearing is not appropriate just because लोगों ने मेरे को uncomfortable feel करवाया, but definitely I thought that I was appropriate. Sometimes it's an honest mistake, लेकिन the society does not forgive you because in their eyes you're literally damned a whore the minute you wear a mini skirt or the minute you wear a skirt above the knee. This happened at my corporate job as well. Like a year later, my manager contacted me and he was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And पता नहीं ये conversation कहाँ से आई, ठीक है? But he was like, "Oh yeah, everyone used to like talk about your low cut blouses in office," and I was like, first of all, and you said nothing, and second of all, that's so weird to me because I don't go around talking about people's clothes or anything. So yeah, women are not allowed to be clumsy or just मतलब भूली भटियारी नहीं हो सकती वो, because the minute we fuck up, it's like over for us. And this is just my opinion, but yours can be totally different. Just because of the fact that people judge, I will continue to wear clothing that I find appropriate, like that I want to wear, whether it's short skirts या फिर crop tops or anything, because मेरे को ये stereotype नहीं पसंद कि a girl cannot be both hot and smart. Like just because I like to make YouTube videos doesn't mean that I am not a good writer, which is my profession, and I'm not good at my job or I'm not a good human being. That is all that I wanted to share. And after my experience in the real world, when I've entered the adult life, I acknowledge that genuinely from the room temperature that we have at the office, just the corporate world or just the society that we're living in, even when we walk down the street, this is a difficult world for a woman to live in. I just want to acknowledge and share this. Previously मेरा बहुत aggressive point of view था feminism पे, that you know I am equal and I can completely be a part of the workforce and I can earn more money than a man. That was when I was a teenager. Lekin slowly when I look at all of the biological factors, economical factors, just how in my house also, like how much I am included in financial decisions. I'm sure that you have seen the Paytm ad at Jismail, like a bunch of people were lined up and unse पूछा गया. They said कि take a step forward if you have.
Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
The women were taking a step and they were at the front in the beginning of the video, but by the end of it, they were at the back.
Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget? Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds?
When it came to situations like have you invested in a mutual fund, have you gotten a loan approved, and like just financial decisions in general, women have been kept out of the equation.
Do you file your own income tax return? Now everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
What I'm trying to say is that it's not that I want to strive to be an equal. It's that regardless of me not being an equal, which I am not, I can never be a man, not biologically, not in any way, right? But still I deserve equal opportunity. So I'm just going to share like this CBC report with you guys. So according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, men in the United States spend 150 minutes a day, about 17.5 hours a week doing unpaid labor. Women spend 243 minutes doing unpaid labor each day and 28.4 hours a week. When you add both unpaid and paid work together, women work way longer hours than men do. If men and women were compensated for their unpaid labor, men would earn an extra $469 a week and women would earn $761 a week, which is massively different. These numbers have been generated just to let the population know that if women were compensated for their household chores and the labor that they do at home, definitely we would be much richer. But there is no way to calculate how much my mom works in the kitchen or your mom works in the kitchen and she supports us while we excel in our careers. हम GDP में कभी भी उनका effort नहीं गिनते जितना हमें गिनना चाहिए. They should be credited for it. वही चीज़ बार मैं बोल रही हूँ कि we just feel like we need to do everything when we don't need to do everything. Radhika Apte put it really nicely in an interview.
Know that my mom knows how to cook. She's an anesthetist. She's been the CEO of the hospital. But my dad is a chairman, is a neurosurgeon, but he doesn't know how to cook. And my mom does do both, and my dad doesn't. And yeah, my dad can just choose to be that. And my mom can also choose, but she didn't. Because there was this strange kind of and she likes to cook, that's also true, but
expectation,
I think assumed responsibility also. So it's not just external. I think women think that they need to do it. You know, I have to sometimes tell people that, do you know that you can draw a boundary and that doesn't make you a bad person. You can say that I am not going to do that.
I think we've glorified the fact that women can multitask.
Sacrifice is also glorified. Self-sacrifice, like I'll do it, yeah, for this person, and that doesn't make you mahan.
I think what I'm trying to say is that women are definitely very hardworking and very great at managing household chores and running a career, but that doesn't mean that you push yourself to the limits जहाँ पे आप अपनी physical health को impact कर रहे हो. You compare yourself to men and you go like, oh, I'm going to do it all, because that's how I used to think about feminism, कि I'm going to be better than that man. I also want to lift that much weight, and I don't know, there's a lot of things that we unconsciously compete with for men, but we need to be reminded that this is an unattainable standard and men are not ideal people that we should strive to be like, because they also have their own pressures about like being the breadwinner of the family. Or like earlier I used to like stand in the metro and be like, मैं lady seat नहीं लूँगी because like I'm equal and I can stand. But now I acknowledge that if I am able to sit on that seat and not be harassed, which I have been a lot of times in the metro, and I'm not harassed and I'm able to go to my job, then that's good, because many men don't struggle with this. So in order for us to be equal, if one of us has to be compensated, then so be it, which is something that I didn't realize, and I might be late on this. And as same goes for the gym. Did you know that like women with lower percentages of fat are more prone to diseases? Like we're not even supposed to have low levels of fat. Yeah, so like I think we should read up more about our bodies and what makes us more comfortable. Anyways, the entire point of this video was to not compare yourself to a standard of men, which I did for a very long time, and I was like, oh, I'm not able to do this much, and now I don't compare myself to men or anyone for that matters. And stop working at the clock of a man and instead embrace our own phases, which are like the phases of the moon. Our hormone cycle is often compared to the moon, and a male hormone cycle is usually compared to the sun. So we should definitely embrace our hormone cycle as compared to a man's hormone cycle. But enough said, more doing. If you like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends if you want to tell anyone anything. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. It is literally 5 a.m. in the morning, so some of the things I've said, I don't even know, I don't even remember what I said in the video, and if this video has been filmed properly or have I said the right things, I have no idea, because it's like I'm so sleepy. Anyway, साडी वीडियो पसंद आई तो लाइक कमेंट जरूर करियो, और साडी नवी वीडियो लाइक सब्सक्राइब टू Sorry Not Sorry.
Bye.